This is a breakdown of the 2023 to 2024 Buffalo Bills. My concerns, the flaws, why I'm excited, and why it should be fun to watch this team play. So, stay tuned. Now, the first reason is, or the main reason that I think is, last year the Bills were third in turnovers in the league. They were the only teams ahead of them were the Texans with the second overall pick and the Colts with the fourth overall pick. So, the Bills' main problem is, well, they're good in the regular season because their defense can contain them throwing and having that many turnovers. With Josh Allen being able just to throw balls up and hope for his receivers to catch it. If they don't, in the regular season, the Bills' defense can contain that. But it's like what we saw in the Bengals game. The Bengals outplayed the Bills' defense. They ripped it apart, and their defense contained Josh Allen. I think that's the best I've seen Josh Allen contained as a Bills fan since before his breakout year. I mean, he couldn't do anything. Coming from a Bills fan, Josh Allen was terrible in that playoff game. Because in the regular season, their thing is, if they make a turnover, their defense can back them up. But in that playoff game, you make a turnover in the divisional round to a team as good as the Bengals, you're down 7 points when you could have tried to play it more smart. But the thing I like is Josh Allen's taking responsibility for himself, saying he has to stop throwing interceptions, which I totally agree with. But I feel like another problem is Ken Dorsey. Now, I know this was his first year in the league. He's the new guy, quarterback coach for a while. But if you really look at it, look at the plays that were getting ran during that Bills-Bengals game. Or even Bills-Dolphins wild card round game from last year. He's going deep on almost all of these plays. So when the O-line can't protect Josh Allen throws the ball up and it gets intercepted by the Dolphins' talented secondary. So what Ken Dorsey needs to do is he needs to say, we need shorter routes, and then put Diggs on some type of double move to catch the defense off. He's a great route runner. And put a guy like Khalil Shakir on a little quick slant route for a bailout option. Then put James Cook out on like a little curl out of the backfield, so Josh Allen has a backup option and doesn't throw it up to Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis every time that his offensive line breaks down, which is another problem with the Bills' offense. You look at their offensive line stats, they don't look bad with the sacks, but when you have a guy like Josh Allen, how many sacks are you realistically going to be taking? I think that a college offensive line, Alabama's offensive line, could protect Josh Allen because Josh Allen relies on his legs to get out of those problems. Now, can Josh Allen do it every play? No. And the problem is he's going to end up injuring himself doing that. So what the Bills need to do is focus on the offensive line. That's why I like this Osiris Thompson pick. I know I mispronounced that name. But I like it because it's giving Allen time. And it's letting him slow down the game. Think about his options. then when he throws, he has more confidence that this isn't a 50-50 ball to Diggs. Which, the reason Diggs is getting mad is because, I think it's because of Ken Dorsey. I do not think he is a good play caller. He's a good quarterback coach. Daboll, 10 times better. I would take him in a heartbeat. I love what Daboll did with the Giants. Bringing a team that went probably, 5-12 last year to making the playoffs and getting into the divisional round against the NFC Championship team that won the NFC Championship game. Daboll's an incredible coach, and I just wish the Bills could have him back because he knew how to run an offense. He knew how to say when the Bills' offense needs to go short, when they need to go long. And the Bills' defense needs to get the Bills' defense needs to play like they're in a playoff game every single game, because they don't. Some games, the Bills will have the best defense in the league. Shutout or 3 points to 50 points. We've seen that happen. Pittsburgh Steelers game, week 4 of last season. Think about it. I think they might have scored 10, 13 points, but those were garbage time points. And then the Bills ended up scoring 40-something points, pulled Josh Allen out in the middle of the third quarter, because the Bills' defense is making stops. So Josh Allen can think. He isn't in this rushed panic mode and then when you're in that rushed panic mode, he's trying to play hero. And you can't always play hero. Sometimes you need to play sidekick and help out. And then you can play hero when the game matters. Because, just look at some of these games. For example, 2 years ago, that divisional round, you're against the Kansas City Chiefs. Famous 13-second game. But guess what would have happened if the Bills' defense made a stop? The Bills would have made the championship game. Then if the Bills' defense could be making stops, they might be able to beat the Bengals. Then maybe beat the Rams. Now this is a huge what if. But what I do like is the Bills' defense is getting Sean McDermott is taking over this Bills' defense. I think that it's going to be for the better. Because I think this defensive line is going to take a huge step up this year. I really do, with Von Miller, who I think is going to take a huge step up. Gregory Rousseau. Unbelievable athlete. He has a huge wingspan. But he's learning behind a guy like Von Miller, a first ballot Hall of Fame player. So, you have to think. Greg Rousseau is getting lots of help with Von Miller. One pick I didn't like is picking Ed Oliver. Don't get me wrong, he's a good quality player. But at that time, the Bills could have had Jeffrey Simmons. And I think they might have even been able to get Quinnen Williams. I would rather have Jeffrey Simmons personally. That's just me. But just think how deadly that D-line would be with the 3 guys. You got Greg Rousseau, Jeffrey Simmons, and Von Miller. That would be a deadly offensive or defensive line that would be able to crush any offensive line. Now, if we go a little bit deeper, middle linebacker. We lost Tremaine Edmunds in free agency this year to the Bears. That is a big hole to fill. We got a guy out of the draft. They said he's looking good. I hope that's true because Tremaine Edmunds was good. He was pretty good. But one of my favorite guys on this entire defense, Matt Milano. He makes play after play, and he's just amazing to watch. I love watching Matt Milano play football. He's a fun player to watch. He's a textbook player, and he gets the job done. He took a huge step up this year. But if you go to the secondary, we're having Tre'Davious White for this entire year, which that is going to be huge. And I mean huge. We're also going to have Jordan Poyer back, who we got out almost time with the Dolphins. Oh, could you imagine this safety combo? Javon Holland, Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, Jordan Poyer. That would be insane. But the Bills have Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. My opinion, probably the best safety duo in the league. Now, it's unfortunate we couldn't have seen it last year. I think the team would have been better. Obviously, having a top safety in the league helps a lot. But we're going to have Micah Hyde back to full health, hopefully. Then, the biggest question mark on this team is Tre'Davious White. Came off of an ACL tear 2 years ago against pretty sure it's the Saints on Thanksgiving. Nah, something like that. It was against the Saints, I know. I'm pretty sure. But are we going to see the Tre'Davious White that no one can pass on and can lock down a field, his side of the field? We don't know. That Tre'Davious White was amazing. But we're going to have to see how we can come back. We obviously have guys like Tyron Johnson, Khalil Elam, who we drafted last year in the first round, picked 22, I'm pretty sure, maybe 24. Don't quote me on that. But that's a pretty good defense. Now, I don't know what route Sean McDermott's going, having him step over or step in at defensive coordinator more and taking control over the defense. Hopefully it's for the good. I don't know what kind of changes he's going to make. I haven't looked into that, but the Bills need to be more conservative on defense. They don't need to go for interceptions all the time. A bat down on 3rd and 10 forces a turnover and a punt. Because what's the difference? I have a question for you. What's the difference from getting a team punting the ball at the 20-yard line, or some guy like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes throwing it up on 3rd and 10 and it ends up landing at the 20. It gets intercepted. What's the difference? They're both turnovers. Punt should be considered turnovers. But one piece I haven't talked about this episode, the guy I'm really excited for, Dalton Kincaid. Now, I think I don't know how much time he'll get in. I've heard that he's been playing pretty good throughout training camp. So I'm excited to see him play. I think we're going to be running a 2 tight end set. We also have a guy like Damian Harris, who we picked up in free agency from the Patriots. It's going to make Patriots week easier. Maybe even harder having Ramondre Stevenson getting the full workload, but I'm excited to see what the Bills are going to do with Dalton Kincaid, because he's getting compared to guys like Travis Kelce. Not the best blocker, but a phenomenal pass catcher. And that's a bailout option for Josh Allen. Because, Dawson Knox is a really good blocker. Probably one of the best blockers in the league. Or not in the league, but he's a good blocker. Then, you take a guy like Dalton Kincaid, who could be playing a receiver right now, but just because of his talents at blocking, which it isn't phenomenal, but they're good. They're decent. So, I'm excited to see what we can also do with a guy like James Cook. I hope we can develop him a lot, because I think he is a very fun player to watch. Getting passes out of the backfield, can be an explosive guy. He's fast, he's strong. So this Bills team should be fun to watch, but there are concerns. There are flaws in this team at D-tackle too, at middle linebacker, at offensive line. But I think the Bills will be able to figure this out. And the Bills have to go out and win a Super Bowl this year. Because I didn't talk about this Diggs situation, but Diggs is getting mad. And it's never good when an elite pass catcher gets mad. It's a recipe for disaster. So, the good thing is his contract's lasting for a while. So if worst comes to worst, we trade him for a proven wide receiver who can replace Diggs. That's what the Bills need. They need a guy like CeeDee Lamb. Who else could the Bills even get? They would never be able to get. They wouldn't be able to get Waddle from the Dolphins, but maybe a guy like Terry McLaurin and a third-round pick for Diggs if things get bad between them and the Bills. But, well, that's really the video. This is a deep dive into the Buffalo Bills, and see you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe.